Sets the screen for Jaylen. Oh my goodness!
Boston put Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks on the table for Giannis Antetokounmpo and still lost the deal to Miami. Not a bench piece, not a role player. Their own finals MVP was the centerpiece of the offer, fresh off the best season of his career. The deal collapsed, but the offer didn't disappear. And now Brown knows exactly what his own team was willing to do. For more than a year, Giannis trade rumors had been building, and Milwaukee's collapse made the split feel more and more realistic. The Bucks had gone 32-50 this season. Giannis had openly criticized the front office's roster building and how they handled his knee injury. A clean break felt inevitable. 2 teams emerged as real contenders, the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Boston's offer was built around one name, Jaylen Brown. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, the Celtics put Brown on the table, along with 2 first-round picks, hoping that would be enough to bring Giannis to Boston. It wasn't enough. Milwaukee chose Miami instead, a package of role players and draft picks, no single star included. Late Monday night, the eve of the NBA draft, the trade went through. Giannis was heading to South Beach. For Boston, that should have been the end of the story. It wasn't. But first, you need to know exactly who Boston was willing to give up. 71 games, the best scoring average of his career, 6th in MVP voting, All-NBA second team. And while he was doing all of that, that's the player Boston put on the table. He didn't get a heads up from the front office. Publicly, his name exploded into the story at the same time fans were watching the reports break in real time. His name attached to someone else's blockbuster. And this wasn't some throwaway scenario floated and killed in 5 minutes. Boston was a real finalist. They weren't a rumor. They were one of the 2 teams actually in the room. But here's what nobody's talking about enough. This isn't the first time Boston made that call. And the first time, 4 years ago, tells you exactly what they think of him. In 2022, Boston discussed including Brown in a different blockbuster, a deal for Kevin Durant. Different superstar, different summer, same player on the table. Back then, the Celtics ultimately chose to keep him. That's the real pattern. Boston has been treating Brown like an elite trade chip for years. The first time he was the answer to the question, who do we give up to get someone better? The someone better was Kevin Durant. 4 years later, same player, same question. This time the answer was Giannis. And this time, Boston got close enough to be one of 2 real finalists. Drafted 3rd overall in 2016, before anyone knew what he'd become. He delivered the championship Celtics fans had waited 16 years for, winning Finals MVP in 2024. He signed a 5-year, $304 million extension to stay in Boston long-term. A supermax. And a supermax isn't just a big contract. It's the kind of deal teams give to players they claim they are building around. He did all of that, and he still ended up on the table. Picture this. You just put up the best season of your career. You're checking your phone, and your name appears. Not in a congratulations message, in a breaking news alert. The evidence didn't hide. It stacked up, piece by piece, in public. The first sign was what Milwaukee actually wanted. According to Shams Charania, the Bucks weren't just asking for Brown and 2 picks. They wanted more. Names like Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman were reportedly in the mix, along with additional draft compensation. Brad Stevens reportedly drew the line there and said no. Somewhere in a meeting room, people were negotiating exactly how big a Jaylen Brown plus package needed to be. Then came Stevens' answer when reporters asked him directly about Brown's future. Jaylen Brown is a big part of us. Brief. Guarded. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't call the trade talks a mistake. He didn't promise it wouldn't happen again. And then a former Celtic said the quiet part out loud. ESPN's Kendrick Perkins, who wore that jersey himself, looked at the camera and said it plainly. This relationship is over. And Brown? He didn't say a word. His first public post after all of it broke was about cats. No comment on the trade. No comment on his future. Just silence dressed up as a joke. Make of that what you will. Which brought the fan base to its own conclusion. When Stevens tried to smooth things over, the replies were blunt. One comment summed up the mood across the board. If you have to say this is our team, it probably isn't for much longer. No one outside those rooms can say exactly how Brown took all of this, but from the outside, the message looked brutal. So where does this actually go? According to Shams Charania, the fallout isn't done. The Celtics and Jaylen Brown will have hard conversations moving forward. Days after the draft, Karania reported the Celtics were actively engaged in trade talks surrounding Brown with multiple interested teams. Not just fan speculation, reported conversations with real teams. Though even Karania made clear that doesn't guarantee a trade happens. Here's the complication. Brown isn't easy to move. He's 3 years into a 5-year supermax that runs through 2028-29, fully guaranteed. Under the current collective bargaining rules, that contract is a long-term salary commitment any acquiring team has to absorb in full, uncuttable, massive, and tied to a player who just turned in arguably the best season of his career. That makes him both extremely valuable and extremely hard to find a clean trade for. So Boston is stuck in a spot of its own making. They tried to trade him for Giannis. It didn't work. Now they're fielding outside offers anyway, while publicly insisting he's a big part of the team. Which is it? Boston hasn't actually answered that. They've just avoided it, twice, on camera. When that trade happens, and it's looking more likely every day, everything changes again. And this stops being a failed Giannis story. It becomes the end of an era in Boston. Here's what's actually true. Jaylen Brown delivered the best season of his career. He did it while carrying the offense without his all-star partner for most of the year. And his reward was watching his own front office try to trade him away for the second time in 4 years. Boston says he's still a big part of the team. Their own actions, twice now, say something different. Whatever comes next, a new deal, a trade, or business as usual. One thing is already settled. Jaylen Brown knows where he stands. The only question is what he does the next time the phone rings, and it isn't them.